Hi, my name is Joseph, and today I want to discuss The Bear Season 1, which first came out on June 23rd, 2022, and it was written by Christopher Storer. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing his last name, but I first saw this show at the beginning of this year, 2023, and the reason why it took me so long to create my review for this show is because I made the choice to watch it one more time before I did so, and I wanted to do that because I enjoyed it so much. I knew that I had to watch it once again just to fully take in the themes and motifs and the characterization that the show was attempting to set up for its story. and yeah, so part of what made me able to rewatch it as well was the fact that it's only 8 episodes, each episode being about 30 minutes long, with episode 7 being the shortest of the season at about 16 to 17 minutes. Despite episode 8 being despite episode 7, did I say 8 or 7? 7, there's 8 episodes. Despite episode 7 being the shortest, this does not mean that it was the weakest. It was actually, I would argue, the strongest episode of the season. So before I even discovered this, I was able to feel that episode 7 contained a lot of tension, a lot of claustrophobicness. And where was it stemming from? From the filming technique that was used, known as a one-shot. So what that means is that episode 7 was shot in one shot. As soon as the camera started, it was not shut off until the scene was over. I don't know if that's the proper term for that technique, but that's what I'll be calling it, the one shot. And it was utilized really well because it really helped to signify, it really helped to contextualize how smoothly a kitchen can go when it opens and how quickly everything could just devolve even when one feels like they're prepared. And it did such a great job of making the audience be on the side of all the characters in that episode. So, as I already stated, I've seen this show twice. I recorded this review after watching it the second time. And I have to say, watching it twice was a really fun experience. The reason being was because the first time I watched The Bear, I was really in love with characters such as Sydney and Marcus. And I despise characters like Richie and Tina. I'm not gonna lie, I did become a little bit more lukewarm towards Tina and Richie as the season ended, as it progressed. But I just wasn't the biggest fans of them just because I knew people liked them in my personal life, and I think I was just projecting, right? But in the second time that I saw the show, now that I knew the conclusion of all these characters, I found that my perspective shifted. I had a lot of patience for Richie and Tina's character now that I knew where they were coming from, while as with Marcus and Sydney's character, I had less patience with them. And so there will be some spoilers, but I already made a video about this on my channel called Who Lose the Bear and Accountability, but this is also in episode 7 too. My one complaint about the show, and I'm hoping that season 2 will address this, is that the show never really tackles the fact that Sydney and Marcus, they had a lack of accountability and responsibility in episode 7. For quick context, in episode 7, that's when a to-go service is first started because of Sydney's character. And Marcus, he's asked to bake a cake, I believe it was, but he's too focused on baking donuts. Despite the fact that their boss, Carmine, is doing his best to control the situation, Marcus continues making donuts, and then he becomes upset when everyone's shocked that he's still making donuts. And then Sydney actually makes the choice to step away from the situation, and she actually quits on the spot, despite the fact that this whole mess was done in the first place because of her actions. The show in the first season never really discusses these implications. That's something that I just didn't really appreciate, just because I do feel Carmine was not in the right. Nothing excuses how he was treating his staff. But with that being said, with context, it's not like he just came in that morning and made the choice, I'm going to be rude to everyone today, right? There was actions that other individuals were doing that was further to make Carmine's make the situation much more difficult than it needed to be. But besides with that though, what's so great about the show are the characters. Even though the characters that we may not enjoy or appreciate, it doesn't stop the individual, the audience member, from just loving the show because of the story that's being created with all these individuals being interwoven together. What is this show about? It's about a young individual whose name is Carmine, who inherits a restaurant from his older brother, Mike, And unfortunately, his older brother has committed suicide. And Carmine essentially wants to turn the restaurant around for personal and symbolic reasons. Carmine has a sister whose nickname is Sugar. Her real name in the show is Natalie. And she has a husband his name is Pete. And Pete's an interesting character, but one loves and also... Well, to be honest, I do enjoy his character. The first time I saw the show, I thought he was such a pushover. But the second time that I saw the season, my second viewing, now that I knew his conclusion, I really did appreciate the role that Pete plays for Sugar's character. And then, of course, we have Sweeps, Ibra, Cicero. All the characters in the show, all the actors did such a great job of portraying them. One really has no complaints about the acting in that regard. So even though the show is only 8 episodes long, do I recommend it? Yes, I do, without a doubt. So my experience with television this year has been really awesome because I had the opportunity to also watch Midnight Mass this year. I know that came out in 2021, but for whatever reason, it just took me a while to finally sit down and watch it. And I have to say, had I seen Midnight Mass in 2021, hands down, would have been the best show I've seen that year. Had I seen The Bear last year, again, I saw it this year at the beginning of 2023, hands down, would have been the best show of 2022. It is the best show of 2022, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And I know that the second season of The Bear came out this year, and I am planning on watching it and making a video for that. And if that season, the second season of The Bear ends up being the best show for 2023, that honestly would not shock or surprise me. I'm really looking forward to diving into season 2. So would I recommend this show? Yes, I would. Why? Because the writing is really strong. The audience becomes engrossed with each of the individual characters. The characters feels real. One feels like they understand the circumstances that these individuals are in, and they could relate with them as well, especially if one has ever had any kind of goal in mind, and how they attempted to achieve that goal. Carmine's character is also really great. Before, I talked about the one shot, episode 7, but in episode 8, there's also a really great scene where it's essentially a monologue, and it's just from the perspective of Carmine's character. And the audience, the camera does not cut away from Carmine's character. It's just totally focused on Carmine, and as he gives his history, he's speaking to an Al-Anon group, and it's his first time speaking to the group publicly. He's been attending these meetings, and the actor did such an amazing job of making the audience feel the emotion that Carmine was feeling, and the hurt and the pain as well, but also the love that he had in terms of cooking and towards his family. And then the way that the season ends, oh my goodness, I'm just getting the chills thinking about it. I know that sounds really a little bit cringy and kind of nerdy as well, but I'm being honest, that's how strong the writing is. What made the ending of the season so great, the way, again, this show is all about the characters, and the way that the show brings them all together, despite the fact that they were separated, yet at the end they all come back together, and all because of who? Because of someone who committed suicide. So since I've already said spoilers, the show ends with Carmine finding money in cans of spaghetti that Mike's character was saving for the restaurant for his family. And after the Carmine, Sweeps, Ibra, Richie, after everyone has collected the money, they're doing their family dinner. That just means that the restaurant individuals are eating together. But quite literally, it's not just family dinner with the family symbolically, but also literally. Sugar has been invited. Pete is over, as is Marcus's roommate. Unfortunately, I can't recall his name at the moment. But all the friends and family of the individuals who work at the restaurant, they're invited as well. And then Sydney returns, and that completes the puzzle of the family of the bear. And as this is all occurring, Carmine just looks around, and then he looks like the front of the restaurant, and then he just sees an apparition of Michael. One could argue it's more than likely in Carmine's mind, but I do believe that Carmine is seeing Michael. Obviously, it's not a ghost, I'm not saying that, but I do believe that in Carmine's mind, he's quite literally seeing Michael, and the season ends with Michael just looking behind him and smiling, and Radiohead's Radiohead Let me quickly look up the song because it's a great Radiohead song. Let Down, that's right, yeah. And as an end, so quick tangential information. I used to have an iPod that was able to contain all of my library, my music library, but unfortunately that broke. My iPod video, and I also have an iPod Nano. That's only 16 gigabytes. Recently, I was able to I'm able to use my old iPod phone as my new iPod. I guess my iPhone, excuse me. I'm able to use my old iPhone as my new iPod, and all my music, I'm able to listen to it once again while I'm out and about. And hearing Radiohead Let Down, oh, it's just so amazing because since I was only able to use my 16 gigabytes, I only had a small fraction of my musical library. Whenever I heard songs in the wild, it always made me go, oh no, yes, I haven't heard that in so long. I should add that to my Nano. It was just really amazing. And the show did such a great job, not just with Radiohead's Let Down, but with all the artists that they utilized. Sufjan Stevens, I believe, I can't recall the other artist, but Sufjan Stevens and Radiohead, another artist. I like the first song they used in episode 1, New Noise, New Sound, because I watch it with subtitles. It comes on at the bottom. So yes, again, I know it's my third time saying it. Would I recommend this show? Yes, I highly would recommend it. If one has not seen The Bear, be ready for a great emotional treat. If one has already seen The Bear, they haven't rewatched it recently, and they haven't seen season 2 yet, I highly encouraged everyone to watch season 1 again. I know one might be feeling impatient, but it's really worth it, especially as quick reminders to remind one the dynamic that each character had with one another before season 2 starts. And season 1 quite literally ends with the restaurant, The Beef, closing down for the introduction of the bear, right? So the show's namesake. And in case one is curious, where does the name The Bear come from? It's the last name of Carmine, Michael, and Natalie Berzotto. So it's the nickname that they call one another, The Bear. Thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it. If you have seen The Bear season 1, please let me know who's your favorite character if you had one. Please let me know, did you have a favorite scene, a favorite moment? Will you be watching season 2? Have you seen season 2 already? And does it hold up to season 1, or season 1 better, right? Usually most shows, typically season 1 sometimes is usually better than all the rest of the seasons. But some shows, sometimes after season 1 comes out, the quality just keeps on going, improving with each season, right? I'm hoping that this will be the case with The Bear. Again, thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day and take care.